Howdy folks, John with Thomas Muse Guitars. It's been a long time since I made one of these long format videos, and I promise not to be too long. So this is it's an Ibanez Blazer neck, and this is getting a refret, and we're putting this EVO Gold jumbo fret wire in there. So with a painted board like this, the customer doesn't want to refinish the board. He wants the patina left in it. So there's little ridges that are left when when you pull the frets out. And I've hit these with a triangular file just over the top, just to knock that down a little bit. But there's still a bit of a ridge. So what I do is take a razor blade and let the fret slot guide you right down, and just scrape that little bit of built up glue or finish or wood fibers, whatever's up, and that makes a huge difference. So the frets are going to be able to sit nice and flat and flush on the board, because we all know that those frets have to transfer the string energy. What's that? Oh, the scar on my finger? Yeah, so I put a chisel through my finger. I was working on a Les Paul headstock. I was binding it with silver, and a piece of the headstock chipped away, and underneath that chip was my finger. So always be aware, anything can happen. It was Easter Sunday when it happened, so not quite an Easter miracle, but it did heal up nice. There's a little bump there, but hey man, it's a good story. All right, so I'm going to keep doing this all the way down. You can see the little flakes popping off. Everything feels nice and smooth, way more flush than it was before. And I would have had to fight that as I was pressing the new frets in. I would have had to fight all of the crud that I'm scraping off here. So this is working really well. Don't be afraid to use two hands to guide you. I'm registering with my palm on the neck, and I'm holding the razor blade tight, and then I'm sort of pushing and guiding with my left hand here. And if you're left-handed, I can't help you. Got nothing for you. JK. All right. Look at us making progress. Man, at this rate, we'll be done by lunchtime. It's almost lunchtime. Beautiful. So this is a tip if you have a finished board and you don't want to refinish it, but you still got crap all around. Don't be afraid to take a razor blade to it and scrape that debris off of there. Scrape off the debris. That's sort of an English pronunciation. They put the emphasis on a different syllable sometimes. All right. Look, we're almost done. How many more frets do we got? We're up to the fret wear area. 2 more. Very nice. Okay. Last one. give this another touch here. Okay, feels nice. We're ready to put frets in. Do you want to hang around and while I pop the frets in? All right, let's do it. So here's my little fret holder. Just this morning I darkened the numbers a little bit with a Sharpie, and I put white dots where the dots would normally end up. Just another way to help keep me honest. All right, so I'm going to pop these in with a hammer. And you can use a fret call if you like, and put it in a press. For repairs, I usually use a hammer. All right, so what I have here is a syringe, and I flatten the end with a pair of pliers. Just enough so that some fluid comes out. But this is a 1/16 diameter needle. It's not really a needle, but tube. And I just flatten the end. So that helps me get in here a little bit. Now, I could use super glue, but I'm not going to use super glue because as soon as super glue touches a finish, it changes it. You'll never get the mark off of it. It instantly gets cloudy, and there's nothing you could do short of, sanding and refinishing. So fish glue cleans up with water. It takes a little longer to cure, of course, but it cleans up really nice. And that's the reason we're going with this, because we don't want to leave any residue. All right, so we're going to fill up the fret slot with fish glue. Beautiful. And we'll pop number 1 in. Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to show you something else I did to these frets too. I cut the tangs off for one. Beautiful. This is a 7 1/4 radius. That looks real nice. So with these frets, I'll show you here. I cut the tangs off like you do, because the slots in that board don't go all the way through the sides. A little bit, they're already filled, but I didn't want to take a saw down there, and so they're just slight, so that looks good. We're going to keep that look. But the other thing I did was take these frets to my grinder, and I ground the bottom of the tang off on either end, because when they sawed that fretboard, they kept the piece flat like that, and they went straight across. So in other words, those cuts aren't radiused at a 7 1/4 radius. They're flat all the way across. So the center is very deep, and along each edge, it's a lot more shallow. So just to make sure I didn't end up with any interference, I just nipped the bottom of the tang off on my grinder. And by bottom of the tang, I mean this piece right here, not the ends, this piece on the grinder. All right. So start with fish glue, and I'm going to wipe that little dollop off of there. I can fit this right in the fret slot, which is beautiful. It makes cleanup easy, or even non-existent if you're careful enough. But you can't do that all the time. Here's fret number 2 going in. It's beautiful, very nice. So how have you been? How's the family? Hope everybody's okay. everybody here is doing really well. We just had a wonderful visit. My daughter and her family came to visit us. Had the grandkids. Had a wonderful time. Very nice. So you can buy these syringes and the needles that fit right onto them. Make sure you get the right type of needle that fits your syringe. But you can get these, I think I got these on Amazon or eBay. They're readily available. Let's say that. Okay, got a little squeeze out there. Take care of right away. Again, fish glue cleans up real nice with water, especially warm water, which is what I have here. Not for drinking. I have Perrier for drinking. Not a sponsor. But you know what? I would take a sponsorship from Perrier if they chose to give me one. I would happily receive free water and sell it. Got a little carried away with the fish glue over there. All right. A little more cleanup this time. Beautiful. And all the ends look like they're laying down nicely. It's important that the ends lay down nicely. And when you're fretting like this, you can't be afraid if things don't look right to pull a fret out and start over. Start over with, cutting a new fret, rolling it, relieving it where it needs to be relieved, whatever the case. It's way quicker and way easier than trying to fix it when you're leveling the board. If you fix it when you're leveling, you're going to spend an awful lot of time crowning and whatever other extra work has to go into the process. Looking good. And I use fish glue because it dries super hard like a crystal, and that's really good for transferring the string energy from the fret to the wood. Very nice. Everything's looking good. I'm glad you stuck around for the whole refret. What's been going on with me? I've been winding a lot more pickups. I've been learning an awful lot. I've been experimenting with different things, and I've developed several recipes for pickups. And I actually have a site, from my site, the Thomas Muse Guitars website. You can actually purchase the pickups. Just look up Thomas Muse Guitars and you'll find everything you need. I'll tell you what, single coils are relatively straightforward, and I found it pretty easy to come up with good recipes that sound great and do everything that you would want your single coil to do, whether it's a single, a set, even coil tapping. But humbuckers are a challenge. Very, very challenging. There's a lot more that goes into them. Well, it's two coils, obviously, but humbuckers I find are a lot more finicky as far as materials and recipe. So it's been a steep learning curve for the humbuckers, but we're there. Several products to offer. Super happy about that. So that's I've been focusing on that a lot, because when you're building guitars, you're making all the choices that affect the tone and the style of the instrument that you're building. And really, one of the biggest effects on the overall tone of an instrument are the pickups. So if you're a builder, I think it's a natural evolution to move towards winding. And there's lots of great winders out there, lots of great pickups. I totally know that. But I do believe I have something to offer. And if you try them, you'll probably be a convert too. Okay, that's the end of my spiel. Okay, we are at fret 11, and we've got 21 to go, if you've been counting. Here we are at 11. Our frets go to 11. Actually, the frets on this guitar go to 21. All right. Beautiful. Very nice. I'm just using paper towel, little bits that I've cut up. I like the Brits say, kitchen roll. That's one of the main things I go through in the shop. Are rolls and rolls, kitchen roll. Right. So I'm glad you've been along for this ride of, let's face it, let's call it what it is, cinematic excellence. So you probably have other plans today. Who knows? Maybe you're going to cut the grass. Maybe you don't have grass to cut. Maybe you live in an apartment. I lived in an apartment for quite a while, and I loved it. There's a lot of positives to living in an apartment. Yard work is one of them. You don't have the yard work to do. And I find there's tremendous freedom, freedom from repairs, freedom from yard work. And you know, if you live in an apartment and you don't like your neighbor, well, you can just move to a different apartment. Don't renew your lease and move on out. Where with a home, of course, you could sell your house, but it's a much bigger project. Than if you were in an apartment. We had a really cool apartment. It had a the living room was sort of a step down arrangement. So it was very Mary Tyler Moore-ish, like 70s. You'd walk into the apartment and there was like the kitchen and dining room, and then you would take one step down and then it had a really big living room. It was very cool. Very cool. But our situation changed, and we found it best to move into a standalone home. So that's the way that works. All right. You see, I'm paying extra attention to the ends, making sure they're fully seated. Because the last thing you want are the ends to be sort of popping up. Especially once you dress everything and you've crowned the frets, and you're putting that edge back on the fret. It just doesn't look right if the end is sitting up a little bit. Even though you can get it to play perfectly because you're working from the top down when you're leveling the frets. As long as they're level with each other, that should be no problem. Almost done. Have you been counting? Boo-boo. I've kind of lost count. That's why I have my little block there to keep track for me. We're over the heel. Oh yeah. Now we're cooking with petrol. So when I store these syringes with the glue in them and the needle on them, I just turn them upside down, and I run the plunger several times, sort of like this. I run the plunger several times to make sure there's no glue in the needle part of it, sort of like that. And I store it upside down, and it's totally useful even weeks after I've used it. I'm going to go ahead and glue up the rest of these slots. Because we're right at the end. That's 20. And 21. Ooh, it's like frosting a cake. Not really. It's not at all like frosting a cake. All right. Got a pesky little piece of kitchen roll there. You know, I just realized this fretboard has 22. That's not a problem because we got plenty of fret wire. We'll just make more. All right. I'm going to go make another fret for this. Pop it in. Thanks for joining me. Please like and subscribe, and we'll have all kinds of cool stuff going on. I hope you have a great day. And remember, every machine is a smoke machine if you don't use it properly. Peace out.
$5 and I stopped to pee.